So I'm just going to do a quick intro to this video, this DIY video for this IRVWPC2 product that regulates your pump so that it's essentially not just on all the way and off all the way. And I really like this product. I'm not getting any benefit from the manufacturer at all for making this video and saying what I'm saying, but this product has really just been great. The pump has been super quiet for the whole trip, and it works really, really well. So in the video, there's a couple notes I just want to make before you watch it. So I have an old pump in there that I first put the IRVWPC2, they need a better name for the product, on, and it gets really noisy, and supposedly you can tune out that noise. It's the relay on the pump, but I couldn't get it tuned out, but I probably could have if I worked much harder at it. But I had another pump, a new pump that I installed, and it's working really, really well. So overall, great product, really nicely implemented, and has quieted down all my pump noise. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. If you like it, like and subscribe and leave a comment. Okay, so we have another project for this 2017 20-foot Airstream Flying Cloud. We have a water pump that when we're boondocking is just super noisy, and I've already installed, in previous times I've installed the silencing hoses, and that's just still not making it quiet enough. And before you start this project, make sure you read all their directions and drain all the water and all the pressure out of the system, otherwise the water will go everywhere. I've had mine drained and unpressurized for a while, and there's still water in the hoses coming out, so just be aware that you're going to get some things a little bit wet and have some towels ready. Alright, I'm going to see if I can't film this for you. Pretty tough to get a camera to hang on here, but I'm reaching underneath through the vent under the stove, and then this is the other output hose here. I need to get this out of the way so I can screw on the sensor. So we'll do this. Okay, so that's out of the way. Not too much water coming out of there right now. Okay, so I've got the sensor, and this needs to go on right here. So we're gonna work on that. Let me get this paper towel out of here. Okay. Everything's sort of in the way. This sensor has got this tall piece to it where the electronic sensor connects, and that sort of hits everything as you're screwing it in. But once you get these out of the way, it works pretty good. Okay, we'll get my wrench and we'll make it vertical as they suggest. Get some better light on here for you guys. There we go. Hopefully that's better. Tighten this guy up. We want this sensor to be vertical, so let's do that. All right, there we go. Okay, so now it's a matter of putting hoses back together. Get this out of the way. I'm going to put this one back together first. It's just really, really, really tight down here. Okay. Normally, you know, this hose I'm connecting here, this Plex hose, would be on the other side of your pump, but I've got these flex hoses on here that were supposed to silence things a little bit, but they did a little bit. It was pretty bad before, but it's definitely not quite enough for me anyway. So you're gonna put that back on there. Okay. A little bit of water down there. Let's clean that up. If I can get under there. Okay. And then put the other end of that flex hose back on the output of the sensor. Yeah, right here. one thing I did before I put the sensor on is I put some pipe tape, Teflon tape on there to help keep it from leaking. Oh, get this thing started. It's so hard to get in there properly. Come on. Let's try it with the left hand here. Just gotta get it started. There we go. Okay. Alright, so that's kind of down in sort of a mess of hoses down here because of all these flex hoses I put on, but that's our current situation. So now we gotta hook up the sensor and get it connected to power, and we'll get that here in just a second. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is hook up the wiring. I'm not going to go through all the details of this because they have a great video online that does that, but I've already got some of these connectors down there. I'm going to connect all the wires up and then we'll go from there. Okay, I've got my wires connected, and you know, it gets to be a little bit of a mess down here, but what I'm going to do with this guy, there's not really an easy place to, this guy is what I'm talking about. It's not a super easy place to mount it. So I have some double-sided Velcro, and I'm going to mount it right here like this so I can see the lights on the bottom if I need to easily, and it should be okay. A little bit bouncy here, but it should be fine. Alright, so let me do all that and then we'll go from there. Alright, so I'm filling up the tank, or at least putting water in it and turning on the pump so it'll pressurize things. It's kind of the noise that I've got going on before we have it all set up here. Pretty noisy. Anyway, I'll get it, the air bubbles out, and then we'll do the hookup of the sensor and see how quiet it is. So you got to kind of get all the air out of the hot water line. Since the hot water heater was empty, it fills up and then it has a bunch of air, but I think pretty good. And you can hear that the pump stopped going crazy down there. So now let me hook up the sensor. Let's see what it sounds like. All right, I'm gonna install the sensor, and in the video they show it just goes in one way. There's only a certain pattern it'll fit in, and it goes in until it snaps. Okay. All right, it's in. Perfect. All right, so I've got the unit stuck over here with some double-sided Velcro. You can see the lights on it, which are kind of nice. You know, it's gonna ride a little bit funny there. It's gonna bounce around maybe, but we'll see how it does after a trip or two. All the wires are hooked up. Nothing seems to be leaking. The sensor's hooked up, so I'm gonna turn the water pump on and see how it goes. Okay, I have a blinking green light and everything is working properly, but the pump makes a different kind of noise. So let's hear what that sounds like. Let me turn the water on. Yeah, it's not thumping, but that is the pump making a bunch of different noise. So I don't know what to do next. Maybe another pump. Okay, so I have another pump that I wasn't going to install, but I'm going to give it a try here. I temporarily hooked it all up, and we're going to just turn the water on a little bit and see kind of what happens here. Hold on. So I'll just turn it on a little bit. Yeah, so it's working now. You can hear it a little bit going. Way better than the other pumps. So what I think I'm going to do is replace my old pump with this new one that I've had sitting around for a little bit. Okay, so I went to the local hardware store, made myself a little pressure gauge, and this new pump without the regulator plugged in, you know, it's stopping at about 52 psi. Okay, so I'm gonna plug in the pump. I'm gonna plug in the regulator, I should say, and then run the pump. And the regulator is set from the factory at around 30 psi. So we should see this drop down to 30 psi-ish or so. So let me do that, and we pop that in there and see what we get. Okay, I'm gonna turn the water on. I've got it in there, and it's really quiet. You can't even hear it over the water. There it goes. Okay, let it run just for a minute, and then we're going to stop. Let's take a look at our pressure. Yeah, so our pressure has dropped down to right around 30, right? So each one of those little lines, it's 20, 24, 28, 30. So it's at 30. So what I'm going to do is you can open up this box and set it up to 40 psi. That's what I'm going to do. Let me do that and set it all back up again, and we'll see how it goes. So what we have to do is take these 4 screws off, and then there's a setting over here for the pressure set point. I'm going to change it from 30 to 40 psi. So I've got this open, and it's this little dial right here that changes the pressure, the psi for the water. It's currently set to 4. The instructions say 4 is 30 psi, 0 is 20, 9 is 40 psi. I want to go to 40. So I'm going to take this little screwdriver they gave us, and so I can get down in there. There we go. And we're going to go 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so that should be 40 psi. So let me put it back over there and run the water, and we'll see what our pressure gauge tells us. All right, I've got it back in there, and I'm going to turn the pump on, and I would expect this to go from, come on, focus, from the 30 up to 40. Let's see what happens when we get this pump turned on. Yep, the pump's running, and it should stop at 40. Okay, perfect. So we're good to go. So now my last step is really just getting this old pump out, putting the new pump down in there, which, you know, not very much space, but it can be done. So that's my next step. Once I get that done, I'll film another video, and we'll see how well it's working once it's installed. All right, so I've got it, the new pump installed down there. Everything's all hooked up. I have my sensor hooked up. I have it horizontal only because it wouldn't tighten up vertical, and if I tried to go even farther, it would have really been tight. So I have it horizontal. The green light is flashing. Let's turn the water on a little bit here, see what we get. It's still pretty noisy. Okay, that was pretty noisy, that first little try, but my hoses were up against the metal on the far side there, so I'm going to figure out a way to make that not happen. But now when I turn the water on, pretty quiet, way quieter than it was. I still have a little bit of stuff smacking around here. If I grab onto these guys, you know, that quiets it down pretty good. All right, so I'll figure that out. But anyway, way better than before, and the pump isn't making a ton of noise, so I think we're pretty good. Okay, so I just got an Amazon package and I put that in between the hose and the wall, and I put a little zip tie in the middle of these two. Let's kind of see what happens here. Yeah, it's pretty quiet. Not really doing a lot of noise. It's perfect. All right, now I'm done.